focus on today. As above, below, so below, we're talking about mercurial energies. I also want to say salutations to my madrina, to my padrino, to my oba, to all of my brothers and sisters in the Ifa, Voodoo, Santeria, Lakumi, Congo, Apollo, Mystic, and Adjays. Usually, this is the day that we take for Bible study because it's ruled by Mercury. It's about intellect. It's about healing. It's about having the understanding of atmosphere, the signs that we're going to discuss. What's Shamari, my cancer, Sasha Fears, I call her. To all of you that are Libras, that are Aquarius, also Geminis. This is the energy that we utilize on today for manifestation. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down some important universal factors and why things may go one way and may manifest another way. What's up, Demetrius? What, Mother Susan in the house? Demetrius and Mother Susan, Gemini back to back. Oh, wait a minute. Jelly Sweets is in the house. So we got three Geminis in the house. And then we got my Ryan, my Libra in the house. What's up, my baby Scorpio? Now, I'm going to really break this down because I have to get my conjure class done. I have to get my psychic class. This is going to, and I like to set things up so my clients and people that learn under me get the most impact from the information that I share when I'm teaching certain subject matters. And I want to share this with you. This is called Quicksilver, Mercury. What's up, my Boaz in the house? What's up, my Bo? And I'm going to explain. My subject is why communication is so important when it comes to energy work. And the reason why I'm setting up with universally, if you're trying to manifest something, you will have to understand how to communicate with it. People are telling you to venerate your ancestors. If you don't know how to communicate with them, there's no benefit. People are telling you to go and pray to your Orishas. If you don't know how to communicate with your Orishas, no benefit. Communication is essential. Being able to convey a message back and forth from you to ancestors, from you to divine feminine, divine masculine. This is all allows us to be guided. A lot of people say read Psalm 23, but if you don't know how the Lord speaks, you don't know how can you be guided by him or her. Okay, remember the word Lord is also a title. A female can hold the word Lord. So we got to educate melanated people. And I was up and down whether I was going to do this on TikTok, I was going to do this on YouTube, and TikTok is not melanated friendly. And my real supporters are on TikTok, on YouTube. So it is what it is. So my thing is, when we do certain ceremonies and you don't understand, I'm gonna be doing a Shango ceremony soon, probably this weekend, probably Sunday, because I'm gonna go to Miami today and get all the stuff. I want melanated people to understand we have to communicate with our ancestors daily. We have to communicate with whatever spirits that follow us in our spiritual core. We also have to learn how to communicate with one another. Communication of each particular element. Every element is different. And when we use the term modality, This is when we say in the air, since we talk about air, when we're talking about cardinal air. This is the air element that gets stuff popping. So that's Libra. Then we're talking about fixed. Then that means that we're talking about Aquarius. This is when you have a stable thought. It's fixed. And then when we talk about Gemini, this is the ability to see different aspects of people's mind and communicate with anybody or anything on all types of levels. So when you when you have the ability to be a good communicator, but I'm first going to talk about, so when we're in Ocha, a form divination is how you divine, which means how you communicate. Some people communicate with spirit through cards. Some people communicate through, and I'm talking about energy. They use pendulums. They use all, through our century of melanated people, we have found so many ways to communicate with energy. Okay, so there's not a right way or wrong way. Long as you understand what is being communicated to you. A lot of people talk about signs, right? Omens and dreams, omens when things happen around them. The important part when you're dealing with signs and omens is that you have a personal relationship with that energy, and so therefore you can decipher correctly what that particular sign meant. I was last couple of days I would crows been coming around me, so that is the indication, because I have a dead crow in my cauldron. Crows allow me to see in the unknown. So when things happen around you, or something symbolizing that energy, you can decipher what it means to you. And this is why I push so hard for melanated people to first about get it. What's up, Tree Runner Aries? Getting in touch with your own energy, knowing how to communicate with your inner energy. And so therefore, you'll learn how to communicate with energy outside of self. Poor communication is this. You light a candle, you telling the spirit universe what you want. You are never sitting there long enough to hear their response. That's poor communication. Speaking something out of your mouth, but not being in the vibration of the thing you're calling for, is poor communication. When you're doing manifestation work, when you're working with energy and you're communicating and you're not clear, or in an example of in a restaurant, you're ordering all these different entrees. They're all meals. They all have to be individually prepared. And when you get into magic and spirituality, you think that you can order all this stuff. I want this, I want that, I want that. All of these are entrees. And when that bill come around, you trying to say, why's this happening to me? When you're communicating and you're not ready for that manifestation, the next time you ask for something, it's going to take a lot longer to manifest. Being a good communicator is understanding the practice, the traditions that you are employing. Then when we use certain symbols, hieroglyphics, these represent energy. Can I say this again? These things communicate to spirit. When we do Palo, we use the Shamalangas to communicate back and forth. Communicate to the Impungo, right? Or you may have a connection with your cauldron that allows you to communicate telepathically with your cauldron. And not so much the divination part of your cauldron, because the whole concept is for you to become one with that cauldron. And because I know how to communicate with myself, I know how to communicate with spirit. I use my divine name, because in some traditions, in order to communicate with Palo or that particular tradition, they give you another name that allows you access in communication. This is why there are practices that are closed. When you have teachers, elders in a profession, practice, they teach you how to communicate to that particular Orisha, or Loa, and Kisi. You have to know what type of energy you're communicating with. This is not this random stuff you hear people do. It takes a while to learn how to effectively communicate. Just like in the natural, it takes a while. One of the things when you're dealing with Mercury, you always hear about trickster spirits. And I want to break this down, the energy behind trickster spirits. When you ask for something in your finite mind, you think you are being specific. You think what you're requesting is detailed, right? When the truth of it is, when it comes to energy, it's a very general statement that you just made, or a general request. So the concept is, when you communicate, I want a diamond, you never clarify how you want this diamond, because in your mind, you're thinking about diamonds in a jewelry store. So the universe brings you coal. Inside of that coal is a diamond, but it has to be processed. And that's what they call tricks of spirits, because you are vague in your communication, and you feel that because you know what you are imagining, but what comes out of your mouth, how you communicate that, this is why you end up with certain things that may be associated to a diamond. You might get a voucher representing a jewelry store. Jerry may come in the mail, and that's the universe answering you, but you feel like you got tricked, you got duped. What the truth is, you are not specific. And what spirit are you communicating with? Does it have the capability or the capacity to bring that thing to pass? You're asking a poor spirit to bring you wealth and success. To me, that's poor communication. You didn't consider the source. A lot of you are guys send mixed signals, and you put out all these things. And a part of magic is not only receiving the message, but understanding the message. Communication is not you flipping cards. Communication is not about you, the first thing coming to your mind. Communication is that you have an understanding what spirit or energy you're tapping into, so you can do your readings. This is why people's readings are not as accurate as they can be, or they're not in depth as they can be. Because a part of being psychic is being able to receive a message, whether that message in the form of a word, sound, or images, and having the ability to wait on your guide or whoever spirit or energy that is assisting you in the ability to read people that get the interpretation. Because our ancestor be sending a message through you to a person, but if you don't understand or you don't know how to convey a message, because sometimes I would say, this means that this is coming to me for you, and you're going to understand what it means. Because some things, messages ain't for the reader to understand. Because it's a message between one spirit and another spirit. A non-living spirit versus, I should say non-living, a spirit that no longer has a physical body. And the spirit that has the body. And you're the mediator communicating a message. If you're not a good, what's up, Monique? If you're not a good communicator in the natural, you don't have an extensive, how am I gonna say this? Because I ain't trying to be funny. An extensive vocabulary, word usage. When you are trying to communicate the universe to people and you are limited in your education or your ability to decipher what somebody is saying or what energy you're picking up and the feeling that is being communicated to you to convey it to them, you may send out the wrong message or convey the wrong message. This is why this energy of Mercury is so essential. This is why we use the word thought. That's what it is. In Egyptology, any form of mediation, a person being a medium or a prophet or a prophetess or a Oba or a diviner, communication is essential because it allows them to convey an accurate, informative message to the individual. This is what we're talking about. Libra, we're talking about Aquarius and Gemini. And Mercury is an energy that moves extremely fast. This is why we label this Mercury as quicksilver. Meaning you can utilize Mercury to speed things up. Where it was going to come 9 months, it may come in 3 months. Something was going to come to fruition in a phase through the third cycle, it may come in the second cycle. Speeding things up doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to get it faster, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to come tomorrow. It's just like if you ever seen somebody speeding on the road and they just zooming in and zooming out and y'all all end up at the red light together and you say, what did you do all that for? You can add too much sentiment in your work. You can add too much Mercury in your work that it causes more problems than actually bringing something to pass faster. If that makes sense to some of you. When it comes down to communication, this is why you have to have a specific tradition that you are manifesting. How I communicate with Loas and Haitian Voodoo, you have to remember which spirit you communicated to. I had a situation where I was doing graveyard work. I was like maybe 14, and I went out to the cemetery, and I did one part right, but I placed it in the wrong location. These locations allow us to communicate to the spirit basically what we want done. So if you place something at the head, you want influence of the mind. If you place something at the foot of the grave, then you want that spirit to either walk somebody out your life or walk somebody in your life, or it has to do with mobility when it comes down to the foot. Everything you do is sending out a message. And so I went back because I always check in with my spiritual dad. So I was telling him what I did, and he was letting me know that I had did it incorrect. The part I did incorrect. So he asked me. He said, "What's the name of the spirit you went to?" So I told him, and so he started communicating with that spirit to correct my work and make it do what I originally was set out to do. So this is my point. You got to know and identify the Egun, the Moreto, the ancestor that you're communicating with. So therefore, it's like when we receive mail, it'll say it's coming through FedEx, it's coming through UPS, it's coming through the post office, because every carrier does not carry the message the same way. So this is why communication is important. A lot of times when people manipulate their words, this is why you get certain results that you don't. If you don't understand the definition of a word or a phrase, it is important that you take out the time and to educate yourself before you speak something. It is important that before you pray a prayer, that you understand who you're calling upon, and only look for that manifestation to come through Saint Michael, if that's who you use, or it came through Egun. These are salutations to you, Jeremy. This is why communication is so bad. When I'm in Palo, we got Pati Pimbas. When I'm doing Kabbalah, then I have sigils. There are certain hieroglyphics that represent certain energies. You can't be doing all this magic and not keeping this stuff separated. You need to know what you're doing and why you're connecting certain energies together. And you have to be a good communicator. We use certain metals to communicate certain messages to the universe in our manifestation. That's why I'm dressed down in copper. I know that copper is ruled by Venus. I know it's a magnetism. I understand that part of my makeup, spiritual makeup, is carbon and also melanin. And so therefore I understand what I'm communicating. This is why I use I sprayed myself down with lavender. I understand the energy. I understand what I'm communicating. The intention is clear. This is why a great communicator is a studied communicator. Understanding when you're talking to the water element, how you communicate with water element. When you're talking to fire and communicating with fire, how fire responds. When you're talking to air element, how it is it responds to you. And I don't know if you guys saw the last Airbender. Energy responds to energy. Earth element communicating to that, understanding how it moves in its different modalities. All of this helps you to be a more proficient spiritually. I don't care if you're an Ifa, Voodoo, Santeria, Lakumi, Congo, whether you are a church person that believe in the power of prayer. Being a person that communicates well in prayer is a person that has studied a lot of things. And I'm gonna say this: I've been in church all my life, basically. I want to say this part: when it comes down to efficiency, when it comes down to a prayer life, the reason you see people that have a strong prayer life, they know the word. They know how to utilize words or spells, and they understand their elevation. So in the church, we use terms like atmosphere. We use terms like get elevated. All these are saying I'm getting in the atmosphere or the vibration to. We use praise and worship. Another thing, to energize ourselves and energize what we call the anointing or the spirit coming. And because we are knowledgeable of the Bible, we declare certain scriptures or parts of those scriptures to manifest certain things. So this is why you got people that are more proficient in being an intercessor or a prayer warrior than others. They're the same people that are utilizing the name of Jesus Christ because they have a clear understanding what that name represents, and they know how to talk to the Father in that name, and they know understand that the Holy Spirit of God, which is the feminine energy, is going to manifest that. They have a clear understanding of the communication, not one-sided, but communicating to God, like David did. When David put on the ephod was a communication as a priest. He went from king from warrior to priest. That ephod communicated to God that there's a conversation going on. So David, when he placed on the ephod, what he did was he asked God, "Shall I pursue?" That was one communication. What I feel like most melanated people miss is the reply. That is also a part of communication. You don't go to the cauldron and just, "Shall I pursue?" So the response, the reply, back from the email, back from the text, was, "Not only will you pursue, you shall recover all." See, a clear message allows you to operate in your role. No, David knew that when he went into this, he still had to go and fight, but he knew the outcome. A lot of you guys are not putting in the time to communicate well and listen. The Bible talks about slow to speak, swift to hear. Even in your natural life, most people are poor communicators. Because you're not trying to hear what is being communicated back to you. You think that communication is you only speaking, you only declaring, you only praying, you only casting a spell. There's other communication out there, because you prepare a weapon against me, but I've already communicated to my spirit that any weapon formed against me, that it will not prosper. See, you're not the only one sending a response. You're not the only one sending a message. In spirituality, the message that has the most energy will prevail. When you're building up energy around before you request something, you're changing the probability in your favor for it to come to pass. That's why we in the church world we say faith without works is dead. I want a certain success rate. Okay? I communicate this all the time on my platform. I'm here to educate melanated people. In order to get a certain success rate, I have to give the information. So therefore, when I do my classes, when I do my conjure, this is why I'm always communicating beforehand what I'm endeavoring to do, why I'm doing it. If this resonates with you, then you participate. You see what I'm saying? Communication is not only telling, I got some services and products on my website. No, I need you to understand who Shango is. When I go down here, I need you to understand who Shango. I'm going to communicate that masculine energy. I'm going to communicate why I'm actually endeavoring. Because Shango not only deals with my enemies, but Shango also deals with my protection. Shango deals with my love life from a masculine energy perspective. And so therefore, if that resonates with you, because I'm communicating to you when I'm going to be doing this. I just finished up my Oshun work the other day. Because spells and energy, giving Oshun a chance to draw the energy out of the pineapples. Communicating with people and communicating your practice, communicating your gift, your talent, your measure. This all helps an individual, depending on whether they initiate in that practice or not, to have a clear understanding what the probabilities or the benefits of working with you. A poor communicator, I'm a psychic. I'm a conjurer. What type of psychic? What type of conjurer? Communicate. You a pipe layer? What type of pipe layer are you? Do you rearrange the furniture of the guts? Or do you go in there and stab it many times you can until they are bruised? Well, you can't say something that you think that people understand. You have to communicate to spirit, to people, places, and things. There's things, they gave me TikTok gave me a message this morning that some more of my stuff, I didn't even realize I had ordered that much stuff. No wonder they flagged my account for fraud. Cause let's see if the nigga gonna return this, cause he don't order a lot of stuff. But my point is, they communicated me that I will have deliveries soon. So now you got an expectation. See what I'm saying? You can't have an expectation until you have an understanding when somebody, just like I say, oh, I sent out y'all packages. So now at that point when I text you or Sister Monique lets you know about your products, either I received the order or I have already went to UPS store to send it out. Now you got a right to have an expectation. When I didn't give you a deadline or I didn't give you a time, you don't have a right to expectation. My purpose is I'm representative of the church. So when people learn from me, my time pass, I don't want you to join a class and to get information. I want you to benefit because I'm 53 years old. I want a success rate. When you learn my conjure, what I'm teaching, or you learn about being a psychic energy, you're going to be able to operate in it. And it's not hocus pocus. I always communicate. I do real magic. I do real conjure. This is what I work with real energy, raw energy. The benefit of that is that you have clarity. The benefit of that, you have a standard that you can come to expect. This is why I take out my time to break things down, because I'm realizing more and more and more that people are practicing magic with little to no understanding. People are endeavoring in magical paths that they don't understand how that science is going to affect their energy. There are more people that practicing magic outside of themselves versus people practicing magic inside themselves. Because I'm also teach this clarity, the God or the goddess within. How you utilize that divine energy, how you feed that. I told you guys, many of you guys, about and communicated very well about my guardian angel instinct. So let me break this down. Communication. If you are utilizing my guardian angel instinct to feed your guardian spirit, which is your higher self, but you're not in touch with your higher self, you more in touch with your lower self. How you gonna benefit, or how you gonna understand the benefits of that energy when you're choosing as the individual to vibrate low? You're utilizing an incense to communicate to your higher self. The higher self has a different address than the lower self. I'm going to say that again. The higher self has a different vibration or IP address in your spiritual makeup than your lower self. It's all you. But you're communicating based off of the incense you're burning. And that vibration is going to your higher self. So that means you got to elevate to benefit from any message coming from your higher self. And then when we utilize my ancestor incense, this is the part of you which is in your root chakra, the Kundalini energy, the ancestral realm that connects you and your ancestors. And you're communicating by burning the incense. Because you can actually do something that's beneficial for your ancestors, but you can't receive the message because you don't know how to communicate. Your whole journey is to get clarity from your egum, your ancestors, your bloodline. And the moment you know how that particular spirit communicates back to you, there's a time that I had told one of my egums, I said, when you present, flash blue in front of me, so I know it's you. See, communication is not that I'm in contact with you. Now we're going to develop a relationship. We're going to develop a code where I'm very much aware that you're present. It may be through a perfume that your mother or your a cologne that your father had, and you utilize that to help you know. And so that spirit will release that energy to communicate to you that they are present. So when spirits are coming in, depending on the energy, I know what type of energy it's about to manifest. If you in a church setting and it is communicated to you, oh, God is about to heal. Let's take, for instance, Benny Hinn. He's known as a healer. Bump all that. He ain't healed everybody because Yahshua didn't heal everybody. Mother Earth don't heal everybody because everybody don't want to be healed. Some people getting paid through their sickness. Believe that. That's a block. Anyway, so you're sitting there in the church or in this tent, wherever. It's being communicated to you that this energy is being released in the atmosphere. Because some people know how to tap into that energy they receive. I got packages out here. If you don't never go to the mailbox, you can't say nobody sent you a letter, nobody sent you a package. You didn't go to the designated area. That's why we have altar, that's why we have churches, shrine, all of this. You did not go to the designated area that you were receiving messages. In this case, mailbox. In this case, at my front door. I get messages or mail at my front door, and I get messages or mail at my mailbox. When you are spiritual, you should know, like Jacob said, he got a message at Bethel. And he set a memorial for himself. He set a code to remind himself, this is where I saw angels ascending and descending. We can give out codes to spirits, or spirits can give out codes. Remember when Jacob wrestled with the angel and he wanted the code of that particular angel, the name of that particular angel, the particular energy signature of that particular angel, and the angel never gave it. Just because you ask for access don't mean you can get the benefit, because he wrestled. And the angel said, what is it that you want? See, you may not have access through initiation, but you can still receive benefit. That's why communication, this is why I reiterate to people, unless you have been scratched into Paulo, unless you have been crowned into or received your what's up, Miranda? Unless, oh Lord, our chief apostle energy woke me up. Come on here, 3:30 in the morning. Lord have mercy. I've been up like 4. So these are the things why we communicate. These are the things you have to know what you want. I got people that got memberships. They're not initiated. I'm communicating in your behalf. This is why you tell me your desire. This is why we light candles. Demetrius at times will tell me, he said, could you burn a certain incense in front of Centella? Or Monique had did her sacrifice. You want the energy over your offering or your sacrifice to be doing to what you want as an outcome. Never give off an energy of fear. Never give off. Never give off an energy of distrust, because it changes your manifestation. And this is why I intervene a lot when it comes down. And I don't care what people think about it, because I'm not going to let you waste my energy. I'm not going to let you waste the energy of the Mpungo or Loa and Kisi. None of that. Or my ancestor energy. I want you to understand, therefore you respect and you know how to communicate and address. And that's another thing we got to know. These Orishas, they are divine. They come from divine source. So how you address him or her also matters. And you can't keep talking to certain spirits as they your slave. And you wonder why you get in certain backlash. Because When you learn from me, I don't talk to them like that. When you get and you call there, it gives off a lot of slave mentality. It's different. If you're doing love work, and depending on the type of woman or man, because we get down either way, however. Some women or men like to be taught aggressively, and they're going to respond. And there's some men and women that like to be romance or communicated in a softer version. The end result is the same if you are successful. But not considering the person that you want to be intimate with and talking to them in a way that's unappealing. Like, I'm the type of man, I'm a person, I'm a hunter. I don't like to be looked at as meat. And if you look at me as meat, normally it's a turn off, and I'm gonna fight. Knowing how to communicate to people of the origin. I realize that everybody cannot deal with my type of communication, because my communication is always laced in truth. If you're a type of person that ain't trying to hear truth, you don't want truth, then my type of communication is going to find you offended. And I understand that about my communication. Therefore, I'm not offended when somebody else does not like my delivery. You have to understand who you are. When you are communicating with a liar, they love delusion, because it gives instant gratification to whatever their situation or circumstance is. I like healing, and I can't heal not only myself but other people not based in truth or reality. Depending on the type of energy that you're communicating with, it's depending on how it responds. Communication is essential to your manifestation. Is key to how things show up in your life. I didn't order anything. I did not order anything that I didn't need or want. I didn't order anything that I could not utilize to benefit me or whoever. I'm also a Sagittarius. And when I order something, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to order more than one. Unless I'm trying to figure out, does it, because I ordered something online from TikTok, and I had to get the size right. So I'd rather order one thing and see the size and how it fit than order a whole outfit. As you mature spiritually, you're going to care about the amount, what message you sending out. One of the things that make me a successful side piece is communication. Time and location, availability. There are certain things essential and for you to execute a certain outcome. When you're a poor communicator, telling somebody you're going to be in the area is really not telling them anything. I want to know, do you like what you see? Are you okay? Now that I know that, are you interested in actually making something happen? Because some men and women, they like the fantasy of, and they gonna take your information and do what what they will. That doesn't mean they want to actually hook up. Are you, anybody following me? Communication allows you to narrow down your prospects. Whether it's on a job, whether it's a business contract, you communicate pointed questions because it allows you to understand how far you in or how far you out. The reason why I say I've been doing magic and communicating that over and over again, because you have to consider the source of your information. I have never lived any life outside of magic. So I can't tell you about somebody came into their magic and their spirituality when they were 15, 20, 40. I don't have that testimony. And it's good as a person that's servicing people to communicate your level of experience and your interaction in certain aspects of life. Yes, I can break curses, but I ain't gonna break your curse for crumbs. I'm not gonna put my energy and ancestors to work for you, and you on show a regard to my regalness, my status, my investment in myself. That's why everybody can't project themselves to be paid a certain amount of money, because you can't communicate to an individual why they should be paying you whatever it is they're paying. If you cannot perform the services that you communicated, then people feel like they got gypped. Communication allows you to have continual clientele. You don't have to keep out here running behind clients, because you have clients that reoccur. Not for the same thing, but something else. Or they may they may share your information with somebody that they feel that resonates with what you're offering. I don't care how I hear you, Lord. I don't care how good of a fisherman you are. You're never going to catch every fish in the ocean. I don't care how fine you are, how pretty you are, or how handsome you are, how delicious you may taste. You ain't gonna have sex with them. You ain't gonna date them. You get to understand communication. Communication letting people know, you know what, I may be hoish, but I ain't that kind of hoe. I may have hoe tendency. Don't mean I hoe in the last 3 months. Communication. When I want somebody to be confused, I just tell them openly, I've been divorced twice. When I'm interested in you, I've been divorced twice, but I was a petitioner. I'm communicating you, ain't nobody got rid of me. When I want you to leave me alone, I want you to know, because I know your mind is that the average man has been divorced, somebody else divorced him. I want you to believe I'm a problem so you can go about your merry way. That's what I mean by communication, because you can intentionally want to mislead somebody, even with the truth. When I'm trying to reel you in, I'm communicating my abilities. I'm communicating my infatuation with certain body parts. It's all communication because it's all energy. Some of y'all want to communicate how bad you was 30 years ago, but your services is not up to par. It's not desirable. You're not proficient like you used to be. Your ankle don't move like it used to. Your neck, you might have bad head game when you was in your 30s, but since where you at now, your teeth ain't even good in locked in. so you can't perform like you. You can't communicate a certain area of your life as though you're there present in that same energy. And if you are, then communicate that. Communicate where you, just like in a relationship, hey, whether I'm a side piece, whether you looking to be married, are you looking for a long-term relationship? All this is communication. It's the same thing with ATR. Are you going to be a devotee? Are you going to be somebody that is going to be getting services? I tell people communicate whether you a worker or not, because I can teach you on a whole nother level that can help you pull more clients. What type of clients? Communicate. I'm not looking for Walmart, flea market customers. So everybody ain't for me. And I'm good with that. And I communicate that I'm good with that. And I want you to feel no type of way. A lot of you are not good communicators. And you understand the decline. A proper decline is somebody realizing I can't afford him. I'm not committed like he's asking. And so therefore, we're not a good match. Don't mean you can't find another root worker. Don't mean you can't find another conjurer. Don't mean you can't find another spell worker. You don't mean none of that. It's at these waters over here. I'm like the lifeguard. I'm letting your ass know. These waters today are not safe. This is not the type of waters I'm in. I'm in war mode. You swim at your own risk. When somebody communicating you where they are, what mode they in, that's not for them. That's for you. And you should thank them. Thank you for letting me know that if I come into your waters surfing, because the tide's high, your energy is raging. And I want the experience of being in your energy while you in that hurricane mode. While you flexing your powers as a child of Odin. But there's a chance I might die in the process. If your experience is worth your life, come on in. That's a communication. When I tell you as a lifeguard that there are sharks in the water, that I'm summoning spirits because I got them working, these waters are infested with sharks. If you feel froggy, baby, but I communicated it. When I tell people I'm not nice, but I do nice things, just because you don't listen to the communication that is being clearly given, that ain't on my fault. When somebody tell you they got protection around their house, protection around their building, protection around their family, you have been warned. When they tell you you have to have a certain assets, this is all for you to understand. And if you have a hard time communicating with people or communicating to people, you're going to have a hard time communicating with your ancestors or any other energy. Demetri said, I do the same thing. Clear warning. Yes, I am calculating and scientific. Mofo. Having the energy goes where it needs to be. I communicate. I'm a child of Cynthia. I'm just giving y'all different examples. Cynthia rules over all poisonous plants, insects. This is the person you're choosing to lie to. This is the person you're choosing to do conjure on. Because the older I get, the more better I get at communicating. When I was younger, I was a poor communicator. Because part of my poor communication was that everything was secretive. And so therefore you couldn't communicate because that's how I was raised. But I realized that when I got out here in the real world, I need to communicate my spirituality because it's first in my life. I need to communicate my temperament because I can come across very jovial. I can come across very naive. I can come, my kindness can be taken as weakness, and you don't know. I can go from beast mode to monster mode in a matter of seconds. And if anybody ever seen me get upset, I can go from a calm storm to a raging hurricane. And it don't take me long. And I'm talking about even in my 50s, I'm like that. It can get popping real fast. And you be like, whoa, 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 whoa. No, ain't no whoa. Whoa is you. That's why I communicate. When I communicate to people, I'm a warrior. Not in word, but also in deed. And you need to know what kind of leader, what kind of elder, what kind of energy you following. That's what I told Shannon Sharp. You need me. My money right. Whatever fall. Oh well. You got to have certain people that operate in certain energy. This ain't bad or good. It's my energy. It's what I was created to do. I was created to walk as dark as I am. In the black arts, I'm in the abyss. I'm in the nexus. The darker the better. You see my skin? My skin tone? I'm blazing like Luke, the Force. The gravitational pull of the black hole. The black womb of the universe. That's where I draw energy. It's extraterrestrial. And so my intellect is very different. The way I see universe energy and people and places. The way I can take your Aquarius energy, your Aries energy, and take you to a whole nother level. How I can take a Pisces, because of my horizon Pisces. Scorpio. The darker the better. If you learn up under me, you're a Scorpio, I'm going to have your ass so far in a Pluto energy because I love it. I don't like it. Me and Demetri was talking, and he liked the dark aspect. You fool with me, your ass will be in the abyss. If you willing to swim with me, come on in the room. And I mean the upper room. Because that's my path. That's what I was created to do. I'm not convincing anybody to do anything. I'm just telling you, communicating you my energy. When I do love work, when I do stuff, communicate to me that you want to enhance love, because other than that, you want domination work. That's why I relabel stuff. Because I want you to be clear about what you're doing. Because what you say you want versus what you're actually asking for are two different things. Because you're not a good communicator. I am. You want prosperity? At what expense? You want wealth? At what expense? Are you willing to kill if the giants over there on your promised land? Oh, I ain't trying to do all that. Then you don't need to work. You don't want to work with me. Because even according to your Bible, he had to conquer enemies that were already habitating certain lands. So if you ain't willing to retrieve your father's land or your mother's land, then don't work with me. If you don't want to hurt a fly, You don't want to hurt nobody. I ain't the man to be dealing with. I communicate that very well. I communicate to you what type of energy that is constantly flowing. And I also communicate how far I'm willing to go if the donation is right. You come over here, it's going to be a problem with the foolishness. Poor communication does not yield the fruit that proficient communication yield. I know that's right. You got to pay to play. And when you understand, and this is why I'm telling people this, and I'm communicating this. I'm Sagittarius. I'm about life. I'm about people being successful. I'm not a hater. I'm a congratulator. To me, when you're not willing to invest in yourself, I look down on you. You ain't got to hear from nobody else. Sagittarius and Gemini look down on people. That's a law. I don't care if they dirt poor. Their mind, because their energy, that when you are my moon is Aries. When you don't stand up for yourself, or you don't want to fight for yourself, and you want me to believe you got self-esteem and self-worth, I don't believe that shit. I'm telling you straight up. I'm communicating why I look at certain things. If you not willing to fight for you, how I believe you gonna fight for me? If you let somebody walk over you, how you convince me? You might convince the other mug, but you can't convince me. You can't convince me you can fight because you got muscles. You can't convince me you can fight just because you went to a karate school. You went to the karate school to try to convey that message. You ain't nothing to play with. But energy don't lie. Animals pick up on energy. Apostle Ely pick up on energy. You's a scary ass person. And it makes your fear makes you renege on things. Because I'm telling you the pros and cons of black magic and dark magic, that should make you change. When I tell you the cost of you getting the material that you need, that should make you flinch. If you want a $1 million house, bitch, you want $1 million house. By me telling you what it's gonna cost to maintain that house should not deter you. But I realize most people like the idea of a thing rather than the actual thing. Because they ain't looking to put in the work all the time. Like they to Padrino, when Minister Mario, son of Bachussi, passed away, they were telling me, say, don't stop with OJ because Mario passed. Don't stop. The ministry. I done had people say, I say, who the hell you? Once I start something, I'm gonna make it worth it. I shop my Padrino, my Obo, and my Elay. I shop people in the church world. I don't know who y'all think I am. I go harder, especially when I think you trying to snatch the rug from under me. Especially when I don't realize what you don't know. You don't know. I'm gonna show you. I communicate very well. I'm gonna say it again. I'm 52 years old. I'm gonna die in conscience. Which one of them? Ain't no telling what I'm be doing. But I promise you, I'll be doing magic. I'll be doing my magic even in my process of death. I'm a child of the dead. I communicate it to anybody. You should receive the message, the interpretation of the message, because you are actually resonating. Nobody don't have to make you do anything. If you really into magic and spirituality and your African roots, nobody got to beg you. Nobody got to tell you. Nobody got to remind you. I done already put the flag up and letting you know what the conditions of these waters. Some days I'm in a better mood that I can be more sociable, and there's days that I don't want to be fucked with. And ain't nothing you did to me. I'm just in that mode. I'm a bit. As you get older and mature, you're gonna learn why it's important to communicate your energy. Where people can't not say, "Oh, I didn't know." If I got a plaster all across my head, the look on my face will communicate to you. This ain't the day. Yesterday was the day that the Lord has made, but the day is a day of reckoning. And I'm in the mood to see somebody suffer. That's energy. That's communication. And that's the best thing for you, for your business, how you project yourself. Communication, mixed signals is a person that is a poor communicator, because I don't want no mixed signal. What I do and why I do it is not up for debate. So I'm gonna be going to Miami. I'm gonna be doing setting up and feeding Shango. If you want, I gotta get. I went and grabbed the wrong. I got plantain instead of. I know plantain is a type of banana, but I'm gonna get I got to get red wine. I got to get and so if you want to petition Shango, and you know who Shango is, you know the benefit of that Orisha, that energy, and if you haven't researched it, please do. I want you to benefit from my services, my magic. I want melanated people to be able to stand tall while we utilize certain energy, frequency, and vibration. I'm going to be utilizing cedar in this working, because cedar, the trees of Lebanon, when you want to be high and lifted up, I'm a king. I'm already exalted energy. So if you want to be elevated from where you are, you can do a candle for $100 donation, or you can give an offering, because I'm going to be getting apples. I'm going to be getting, and this stuff is expensive. These are kings. And if you're not willing to put the energy into it, you're not going to get the results. And if I got to do this by myself, I will, because I'm going to get the benefit from Shango. And I have a very powerful Shango. Okay? All my reaches are powerful, because I'm powerful. And I communicate that. I don't care who won't like it. I'm going to walk in my confidence, because they keep showing me they're going to show out for me. Okay? But I'm going to go get the proper bananas. But if you want to send me a donation in honor of Shango, or you use his number is 6. So if you don't have it and you want to just send $6, however you can get in. You want to send $666, do that. It depends on where you at. And I'm gonna rock Shango, and Shango gonna rock me. But I'm elated to be in Ocha, and so therefore I'm gonna display Ocha the way that they're inspiring me to display my melanin magic. All right, I love y'all. I see y'all later. God bless. And don't forget to hit that like button and to share.